Hey, what's up guys, Bajheera here. So, on the way to our 2400 achievement, we ended up having an awesome series of KFC Mirror matches against 3 incredibly skilled and successful players, Sodah's, Yoske, and Mystic. Now, all of these guys have multiple rank 1 titles, and Sodah's actually won BlizzCon this year on his Resto Druid. So playing against these guys was pretty awesome just because, you know, you really have to bring your A game, and you learn a lot from playing people this accomplished and skilled at World of Warcraft. So right out of the gate, I'm gonna see Mystic walking up the ramp here, so I'm gonna try to get a hamstring on him. He charges away, but I am able to get a charge on Yoske, which I then chain into a triple shockwave on Yoske, Sodah's, and Yoske's pet. My hunter tries to trap off of that shockwave, but Yoske, in a brilliant play, moves his pet to take the trap and does successfully do so. Out of the shockwave, Yoske roots us all and begins moving towards the other side of the map to trap my shaman. I anticipate this, intervene out of the roots, and I'm able to heroic leap to take that trap. By eating that trap, we are able to keep our pressure up, which is going to force a deterrence out of Yoske. I get explosive trapped down to the bottom here, and in a really heads-up play, Sodah's is going to frost shock me to keep me slowed, and then hex me knowing my reflect is down. And that combo of explosive trap, frost shock, and hex is going to keep me out of the game long enough for them to score a kill on my hunter before he even has a chance to deter. A couple things we could have done differently there is my shaman accidentally dispelled my hunter instead of dispelling me. My hunter could have deterred a little bit earlier, and I also could have trinketed the hex in order to give my hunter a rallying cry, which could have potentially saved his life. So those are just a few things that we could have done better in that situation at least. But the situation that we found ourselves in was a result of the good play by our opponents. So we're going to start the second match off here. I'm going to get charged by the warrior into a root, into a wyvern sting, so I am completely out of the game for at least the beginning of this match. And I did throw up my reflect anticipating the hex, but I just ended up getting frost shocked instead, so I'm also without a reflect at this point. And the majority of the battle is taking place behind a pillar for me, so it's really hard for me to help my shaman avoid that trap and for my hunter to avoid damage while dealing damage to their hunter. So that's a really good use of positioning by the enemy team. But in order to sort of bring my team back, I'm actually just going to pop cooldowns instantly on their hunter, trying to force them on a defensive, trying to turn the tide of battle that is right now not exactly in our favor. And since I pop cooldowns without a CC on the enemy team shaman, my cooldowns are not as effective as they could be. However, we do still see Yoske's health dropping a little bit low during the scatter shot, transitioning into a trap. So I'm going to use my Stormbolt on Yoske, hoping to catch him before he has a chance to deter, but he does deter the exact moment that my Stormbolt hits, so the Stormbolt hits him, but he's still able to deflect incoming damage. Out of the trap, we are able to get Sodah's into a half hex, which he trinkets and uses his Spirit Link totem to bring Yoske's health back up. Now, at this point, we've gotten a trinket out of Sodah's, which is great, but we're not out of the woods yet. My Hunter SSDS's health is still very, very low, and our Resto Shaman Jugglies is trying his best to throw some heals out despite all the CC he's dealing with. I do see Sodah's going for a hex there, which I'll focus pummel while hitting Yoske. I'm going to throw a Stormbolt over to Sodah's, and we're going to land a trap off of that, so we're in really good position here. This gives us a great chance to deal some serious damage to Yoske, which is going to force his second deterrence. I'm going to throw a quick disarm over on Mystic and pursue Yoske and Sodah's as they're trying to LOS to try to avoid some damage. These guys are definitely in peel mode, as you can tell by me getting Stormbolted, but my hunter is going to land a really nice silence into a scatter on Sodah's, into a double shockwave. Wasn't able to land the shockwave before the trap went off, but my shaman was able to ground that trap and avoid it. So we are in really good position here. We've got the entire team in peel mode right now. They're trying to retreat behind the other pillar. I'm going to get scattershotted once again for peels, which means that they're not going to be able to land CC on my shaman with those abilities. My hunter is going to go right along the pillar, and I'm going to pursue them left along the pillar, throwing a quick hamstring on the warrior as I go by. Because even though we're in an offensive position here, you can see my hunter's health isn't all that much higher than Yoske's health at this point. We aren't able to land that final trap to get the kill, but Jugglies comes in with a clutch hex onto Sodah's, and in that hex, we are going to be able to score a kill on Yoske. So, pretty intense game, really back and forth. Their early pressure definitely put us on our back foot, but we were able to recover, fight through it, and come out of here with a win. So, really, really nice game. 1-1 is the score for this series right now, and we've got a couple more games left, so we are just getting started here, guys. And like I said before, these kind of games are the ones that I feel like help you improve the most as a player. You have to elevate your game to match some world-class World of Warcraft skill, and that is not an easy task. Even when my teammates are as good as a Hunter SSDS and Jugglies are. These guys are beasts, and it's awesome to be able to play with these guys on a regular basis. But anyway, let's get into this next game. I instantly see both Mystic and Yoske pushing up on my Shaman. They're taking a very aggressive approach to the beginning of this game. Once again, their game plan is to keep me out of the game as much as possible in the beginning while landing CC on my Shaman. This leaves my Hunter very vulnerable to tons of damage from the enemy team because he won't be receiving heals from my Shaman and won't be receiving peels from me, the Warrior. Also adds up to them not having to worry very much about incoming damage because if my Hunter's on the defensive, there's only so much he can do on his own. So my goal as the Warrior is to do pretty much the same thing to them. I'm not as much worried about CCing the Warrior besides, you know, hamstringing, throwing a couple roots on him, throwing a disarm on him when he's wrecking here. I'm gonna go ahead and kill his skull banner as well. But my main objective here is to help my Hunter CC the Shaman and continue relentless pressure on their Hunter. And a couple things you can do that, you know, to maximize your utility as a Warrior is to do things like I showed earlier, you know, killing totems, killing skull banners, communicating with your Hunter, so you can maximize your CC chaining. As you saw, we used our CC chaining to force a deterrence onto Yoske and a healing tide totem out of Soda's. So at this point, both teams are coming out with guns blazing. Both me and Mystic have already used our recklessness. Deterrence is flying everywhere. This match is a slugfest, but unfortunately, my Hunter already did use his deterrences, and he is gonna go down. Unfortunately, I was not able to eat any traps from my Shaman this game, so it puts us in kind of a rough position, but that position that I was put in is as a result of the enemy team using their CCs on me to cross CC so that they can land those traps effectively and use that pressure advantage to force defensive cooldowns, eventually leading into a kill. One of the things that I could have done better, and one of the pieces of advice I might offer to you guys is, I did trinket a shockwave, and that was more just out of annoyance, because I wanted a shockwave first, right? So, of course, I'll trinket. But one of the things that you might want to do is save your trinket for things like Wyvern Sting when you know a trap is coming on your healer. A lot of times, that's what the cross CC looks like. It looks like a Wyvern Sting on you, and then a Stormbolt trap or a Scatter trap on your Shaman. And even though I was able to get a charge into a big shockwave on pretty much the entire team, we were not able to land a trap on that, and I was a little slow on my intervene, so I was not able to eat the trap from my Shaman. My Shaman does get out of the trap, but then I'm also going to be hexed. The quick dispel gets me out of that hex, but the enemy team definitely is going aggressive on us right now. We see Skull Banner down, Recklessness pop from Mystic, which is going to force a deter out of my Hunter. So we do see them land the first trap, and as a result, get the first deterrence out of us. But, as we've seen before, we are capable of fighting our way back into an arena match. It's not going to be easy, though, so definitely got to be heads up, definitely got to be on our toes. After that scatter shot onto Soda's, we are going to see a silencing shot on him as well. I see a Stormbolt being chucked over at my Shaman, so I am going to intervene over, make sure that no traps are going to land. Hunter SSDS is able to catch that trap, and I'm going to be into a Wyvern Sting shortly thereafter. Once I get out of that, I see that Soda's going for a hex, so I put my Reflect up. He Flame Shocks my Reflect off, but during the duration of that Wyvern Sting, I'm able to get some nice Colossus Smash slams into Yoske right here. And that damage is going to force a deterrence and a double Spirit Link out of both teams. The Stormbolt into a Shockwave definitely gave us a little bit of a chance to try to get some damage onto Yoske. And although we did not get the Trinket, we did get a Spirit Link totem out of that. So slowly but surely, we were whittling these guys down in terms of their cooldowns. But of course, they're doing the same to us. Unfortunately, I see across the map, my Shaman does get trapped. He trinkets that at the exact moment that I get hexed. So he is able to get that dispel on my hex, which allows me to stay offensive onto Yoske at this point. Dropping some huge damage into him, I get feared, Zerker Rage that, and chuck a Stormbolt over at Soda's, which is going to force a deterrence out of Yoske. Out of my Stormbolt, we're going to see a scatter into a trap, and I'm going to Shockwave the instant before that trap arms to keep Yoske from being able to eat that trap, which is going to force a trinket out of Soda's. I see Healing Tide gets dropped, so I'm going to take a quick moment and try to get some damage onto that Healing Tide totem, trying to keep that big healing cooldown out of the game. Yoske has to deter a second time, and I'm going to throw a quick focus charge over onto the Soda's to see if we can score a kill during that. Didn't quite have the damage for that, but I am going to be able to chuck a full duration Stormbolt over at Soda's, hit Yoske with a Shockwave. I want to focus charge the next heal, but we also scatter that as well, which is going to mean a full trap. Yoske has to jump off the bridge. The scatter on me breaks. I intervene out of the root, jump off the bridge, heroic leap down, and get the finishing blow onto Yoske. Another absolutely crazy match, very, very back and forth, but eventually ending up in our favor, thanks to some very solid CC chains, due to the coordination of my Hunter and I. So a lot of these games have been some back and forth battles, definitely testing at least my skills as a player, I'd say. So this right here is the make or break game, right? If you win this one, you get 24, so let's do this. So I'm going to charge the Warrior, hit him with a root. He's going to intervene out, and I'm also going to intervene out the Hunter's root and get a big Shockwave on Yoske in his pit, just barely missing Mystic. Thanks to my root and Shockwave, we are going to be able to land a trap onto Soda's, which is going to allow us to get a distinct pressure advantage right off the bat. Sensing this, Mystic is going to pop offensive cooldowns, chuck a Stormbolt at my healer, but remember when I told you guys to maybe save Trinket for a Wyvern Sting? That's exactly the moment that we needed it. Trinket the Wyvern Sting, Heroic Leap and Reflect the Trap, throw a Stormbolt over at Sodah's, charge Yoske, pop cooldowns, and kill him out of the charge stun. Man, I was pumped. That was such an exciting ending to an awesome series, ending 3-2 in our favor, which, you know, I'm pretty proud of that. These guys are some world-class players, and we did well against them, and were rewarded with a 2400 achievement, so I was really proud. Awesome games, guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching these games as much as I enjoyed playing them, and of course, if you guys do enjoy these sorts of commentary videos, be sure to let me know, and I'd be more than happy to make some more for you. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!